Wolverines, are you ready? Dig your claws into a podcast that only bleeds green. UVU sports news, stats, and more with exclusive interviews. Made for the fans, by the fans. One Team All Green presents the Green Machine Podcast.
And that was Tyler with the introduction. That was pretty powerful. I mean, for a Zoom call, I guess maybe one day when we get back in person and can bring forth the introduction from maybe the UCCU Center or the Nuvi Center or maybe the UCC Ballpark. I don't know. Maybe one day we'll get back there. But that's Tyler with the introduction on our Mailbag Monday, or Monday Mailbag, excuse me. It's Sunday. It's been a lazy day. I apologize. So. But we're bringing you some answers to some questions from some fans. First, how's your weekend been, Ty?
The weekend's been great, Kyle. Exactly what you said. Today's been a chill day. Been spending some time with the family that's here. That's been great. As far as other stuff goes, I'm not excited to watch the last episodes of The Last Dance. That's going to be a heartbreaker since I'm a Jazz fan. I've been dreading it. So. But, I mean, it'll be good to watch because I wasn't alive during that time, so I'll get more of a perspective on it. But it'll be good to watch.
I feel like I haven't watched any of the episodes, to be honest with you. Usually my Sunday nights are consisting of either being on here recording with you guys or, spending it with my wife, my wife and our 3-year-old toddler. So I haven't watched any of it. Actually, I see what everybody's tweeting about it, so I kind of get to run down there. But I'll have to watch it at a later date because, I mean, it seems like it's a pretty good series. And, I was around when Michael Jordan was winning his championships, and, that was back when I was in school and so forth. So I can't say that I've watched any episodes thus far. So maybe people will, hit me up about that. But I'm sorry. Sunday nights are the family nights for me.
It's funny that you haven't watched an episode considering how big of a Chicago Cubs fan you are. I mean, wouldn't you think that you want to check out the Bulls maybe a little bit? I don't know. But I was kind of the same way. Then a week ago, my dad sat me down and said, all right, we're watching this. And so I was just blown away by the first couple of episodes. So I actually think we're going to be watching some of that tonight. So try to get caught up. But if you haven't watched it yet, any of you, if you don't have the chance to watch it, I understand that. But if you can watch it, do yourself a favor, go watch it. It's unbelievable.
See, I was always a Cubs fan and Blackhawks fan. So I wasn't much of an NBA guy. I love college basketball, but we actually never went to a Bulls game or a Bears game when we lived in Chicago. It was always Cubs, White Sox. I think we went to one Blackhawks game. So, don't get me wrong. Michael Jordan's the greatest basketball player that I've ever seen. And I'll watch it at some point. It's just right now, Sunday nights are kind of for the fam. And speaking of family, though, we've wanted to do a segment like this. We've been asking for you to send us our questions. We finally got a couple to do a Mailbag Monday. Speaking about Utah Valley Athletics, and I'm excited about these two questions because they're pretty essential right now. Anyways, the first one comes from Logan Packer. I'm sorry, Logan, that we didn't get your question last week, Mother's Day. We didn't record that day, so we waited till today to answer your question. His question is, has there been any talks about the fall-winter sports being canceled / starting a later date? Right now, from what I've heard, I haven't heard anything about, anything being delayed at the moment. All I've heard is that the schedules that they're trying to put together have been put on hold. So does that mean that they're going to be delayed in starting? Maybe. it's such a fluid situation that it could change at any given time. So, I mean, maybe you've heard something more than I have, Ty, but right now all I've heard is that schedules are kind of on pause for right now.
Yeah, so Logan, that's a great question, honestly. And it's an important one, like Kyle was saying. It's a big one right now. And to be completely honest with you, I don't know. What I do know is that all the all the athletic directors in the WAC, and the WAC president Jefford, I know that all of them have been hopping on Zoom calls. They've all been chatting with each other. And I don't know exactly what they've been talking about, but I do know, or I would bet that that's something that they've been addressing. So delayed, I think, is the most likely option right now. But, like I mentioned last episode, it's going to vary for everybody because Utah right now, we're in the yellow phase, and that's tremendous. But, you look at schools in the WAC, or schools in California, and it's going to be a lot different for them. That goes for, I guess it's just Cal Baptist now, but things are going to be different for them. Things are going to be different for New Mexico State. Things are going to be different for Chicago State. It's going to vary. So it's just, my honest guess is we'll see stuff delayed, at least conference play. That's my guess.
Yeah, I think there may be a little bit of a delay, especially in the fall sports as they try to work this out, because, I mean, initially that's going to be the starting point to kick things off. I think we'll know more after this month of May because, like you said, the MAC is meeting. They're trying to decide on what to do and so forth. And a lot of it's going to depend on what campuses open up in the fall and how that goes, as we've seen with Cal State. The Cal State education system, where a lot of those campuses have said they're closed, they're not going to be open in the fall. Everything's going to be online. So that'll play into it. I don't think, with regard to your tweet, I don't think anything's going to get canceled per se. I think they're going to play. They're going to find a way to play, whether that's with no fans, whether that's with fans. There's going to be a lot of safety precautions put in place. So I think they're going to play. It's just what are going to be all the stipulations put in place for that?
Right. And the fact that this weekend that we had Bundesliga and we had NASCAR starting up, that's huge. They're kind of the, I guess, the pathfinders. They're the leaders of the pack of bringing sports back, because I mean, especially you look at the Bundesliga, they're in Germany, and Germany was next to some of the most hard hit countries, and Italy and other countries in Europe, right? So if they can make it work, I don't see why American sports can't make it work, especially when we've got more time to develop more treatments to kind of flatten the curve. We'll get people out and moving again. So we'll see what happens. We don't have a for sure answer, but to answer the second part of your question, Logan, if canceled, what does that look like in your guys' opinion in regards to players waiting another year? Is this an advantage or disadvantage compared to other schools? And in my honest opinion, I think with UVU being a mid-major, that's an advantage for UVU because I'm going to be brutally honest here, and this is no offense to any of our athletes, but a lot of them aren't, going to be like professional athletes. They're not the top athletes. We've still got some amazing athletes here, but we don't have to worry about them going pro, or a majority of them going pro, right? And so since they won't have a year to play, I don't worry about them transferring, but you look at other schools, big schools like Kentucky for men's basketball, say, if they're bringing in some guys who are potential lottery picks, you bring in these guys who are lottery picks, do you really think they're going to want to come back for a season if they can go straight to the NBA next season? So it just, for each school, it'll kind of vary, depending on the talent and the athletes that they have. But I think that UVU is at a point where it shouldn't really affect them, and we should see a majority of our athletes getting their years back and coming back to compete for the Wolverines in a year's time.
Well, and speaking of which, we've already, at least I was told after posting our previous video, one of our top 10 moments, UVU pitcher Jesse Schmidt, he messaged me and told me specifically that he is coming back for another year next spring. So that's pretty exciting. But I think there's disadvantages and advantages. Disadvantage is going to be how are scholarships going to be handed out, especially to high school freshmen that are coming in. How do coaches manage that? Because most sports, they have a set amount of scholarships that they have to split among the student athletes. Basketball,
Right.
that's a little different, where each player gets full scholarship in basketball, both men and women. So that'll be one of the disadvantages of coaches having to manage recruiting. Who's coming back, who's not, who's coming in. How do I recruit? How do I know who to recruit if I don't know who's coming back, so forth and so on. Advantage is, like you said, that with mid-majors, like a Utah Valley, they have the opportunity to kind of grow together. Guys, aren't going straight to the NBA. They're not a lottery pick. These are guys that need playing time on the floor to end up, making their dream of going pro a reality. So there's disadvantages and advantages, and we'll just have to see how it plays out. Like we said, just so many unknowns with this virus, with this COVID-19. I think we're all hoping that sports come back quickly. I mean, like you said, it started already with Korean baseball, the Bundesliga, NASCAR. I think golf starts in a few weeks too. I mean, it's trending that way.
Yep.
And baseball, basketball, football, they're all talking about it right now. So, we'll see what the professional, sports do. And I think that'll determine a lot with the college sports.
And I know that that the P5 commissioners, so the Pac-12, ACC, SEC, Big 12, and Big 10, I know that their commissioners have been meeting with Roger Goodell specifically about how Goodell's handling, the return of the NFL, or the eventual return of the NFL when the time is right. So, don't think that ADs and athletes are just anticipating sports being canceled. They're going to do everything that they can to make it happen. And I expect it to happen, and I want it to happen, because life without sports has sucked. I'm going to say it. And I put out a tweet yesterday saying that with me being able to watch live Bundesliga soccer, part of my life felt normal again. And that was very nice.
That's true. When we see, live sports being – I mean, I haven't watched much of cornhole, but, actually I haven't watched any of it, so I can't say I watched something live. But, yeah, it's great to see. And, I think Greg Moss, UVU men's soccer head coach, was tweeting about, a couple of the matches in the last couple of days. And so it's nice to see that again. And I mean, hopefully it just continues to trend that way. We'll see what happens. We all love sports. We all miss it. So let's move on to our other question. I don't know this guy's full name. Maybe he's told me it. I just don't know who it is, because his Twitter handle is @GUnit93. G is GEEUNIT93. I'm sorry that I don't know your name. I guess maybe I should clarify that if you want your name stated as the person who asked the question, to state your name. But he asked us, with all the new faces for the men's basketball team, it'd be interesting to see potential starting lineups. Any new recruiting info too? The only recruiting info right now that we have is that Coach Mark Madsen still has open scholarships to fill, and so he's going to be working on that. It's a dead period, so I don't get a lot of in-person contact right now. There's maybe texting and stuff like that, but no full-on recruiting is being done right now. But that's not to say that, he doesn't have a plan on bringing in a couple other players. So that's recruiting for now. So, Ty, what is your starting five for this 2020-21 Utah Valley men's basketball team?
So my starting five right now is the starting lineup that I think will be taking the floor when the Wolverines open the 2020-21 season. And so I think at point guard, it's a no-brainer. You've got Brandon Averitt. He kind of struggled finding his footing at the start of last season, but as the season progressed, he got better and better and more comfortable in his role. and he really flourished, So I think the next year, this is his team, and he's got a great supporting cast around him. And I think he knows that too, because he was playing some of his best basketball towards the end of last season. And it was fantastic to watch, and I can't wait to watch more of it this season. At the shooting guard, you've got Trey Woodbury, lights out shooter, plain and simple. Kid has a terrific mid-range game, a terrific pull-up game. So, and he uses his athleticism so well. He can hurt you from the outside and the inside. So I think that you'll look to see him have more of a role next season, especially, losing guys like TJ Washington, E-Man, and Kasdan. He'll have more of a role, more of a scoring role, and I think he'll do really well there. Kind of at the small forward position, I'm going with JJ Overton. And I mean, the kid's got to be the most athletic kid on the team. He's unbelievably fast. And with this lineup that I've got actually right now, I think is an incredibly athletic line, and it's an incredibly athletic lineup, and will be able to push the ball up and down the floor at just such a frenetic pace. And I mean, JJ uses his athleticism so well, drives to the paint, is able to create his own shot, and is just, once again, as the season progressed, his finishing around the rim became so much more efficient. Whether it was a layup or a quick pull-up jumper, he got so much better with it, and that was huge for the team as they saw success in the second half of conference play. Then at power forward, you've got the grad transfer from Georgia Tech, Evan Cole, and I think that Evan's going to come in here and he's going to be a beast. He's played with the best. He's gone up at guys like DeAndre Hunter from Virginia, who is now starting for the Atlanta Hawks. He's gone up against Zion Williamson, who is, the number 1 draft pick last year and could be a superstar, really. Cam Reddish is another one. He's gone up with so many premier athletes, and he brings so much experience to the table. And not only that, but he's also extremely athletic. So Evan Cole's going to come in. He's going to be a game changer. And at the 5, you've got Fardas Amac. Sorry, Doss, if I botched that last name. I'll learn it, I promise. But he's going to be a beast. So Doss is going to be a game changer next season. He's going to be able to get rebounds. He's got great post moves. He's got great size at 6'11". So he's going to be great there. And then you've got an incredible bench core. Guys like Colby Leafson, Trey Farrer, Latrey Darthard, Awesome McCord, and Zach Mogbo, who should be eligible come November. And Blaisdell could always get a waiver. Don't know the situation on that, but it's an incredibly deep team. And like Kyle was saying, Coach Matt's still out there looking for players. So this team is not final, and this team's only going to get better from here.
I have a few disagreements with my starting 5, because I feel like a couple guys maybe a little bit better off the bench, more of an impact off the bench. So here I go with mine, and you can comment below, tell us what you think, tell us what your thoughts are, how crazy we are, if we're nuts, but this is what I have. Obviously at the 1 position, Brandon Averitt, like you said, he came into his own last season, towards the end of the season. That's why he was on the all newcomer team. I mean, the guy is athletic, and now that it's his show, I guess you could say, where he's not splitting it with TJ or another really, point guard, and that per se, he's going to be the guy that, brings the ball up the floor and leads the offense and so forth and so on. He's the floor general. So I expect him to have a big season. And I don't think the WAC is as guard heavy as it was last year. So, I mean, that'll play a lot into it. 2 could be either Colby Leafson or Latrey Darthard. And this is why. They can both shoot the ball. You need a shooter on the floor. No offense to JJ or Trey but these 2 guys are better 3-point shooters than those 2 guys. So that's why right now I'd probably put Colby Leafson ahead of Latrey, because Colby's been here the last longer than Latrey has. But that could change. So Colby Leafson gets my nod for the 2 because of his shooting ability. 3 would be Trey Woodbury, because he can play multiple positions, and he's going to stretch people because he can shoot the three, he can attack the rim, and he has the prettiest jump shot on the entire team. Like, and he knows how to pull up and hit a jumper. Like, not a lot of guys understand that that's a tool that you have to have these days. At the 4 position, obviously, is going to be Evan Cole. I mean, that's a no-brainer. The guy, he didn't get his minutes at Georgia Tech. He's going to be really, really good here at Utah Valley. Mark Madsen, Todd Phillips, they're going to do their best to, get this guy going and get him his, to showcase what his skill and his athletic ability is all about. And then obviously the 5 Fardaws. I mean, then you have, JJ coming off the bench, which is where he made his impact last year when he brought that energy, brought that, what I want to say, the energy that was needed to get these guys going on offense, because he was up and down the floor. Right, the juice. Exactly. That's what it is, juice.
Brought the juice.
And then you'll have Latrey, and then Hassan McCord, Trey Farr. I mean, it's a deep bench this year, a deep team. And, I mean, I like that starting 5. Both of us have – I mean, we really have one guy different. And so it'll be fun to see what happens, and see the battles that happen in practice and who's putting in the effort to just get better every day and how they come together as a team. And let's not make any – light of it. Their non-conference schedule is brutal. So they've got to come together quick, and it'll be interesting to see how they gel right now.
And I know that this team is hungry coming into this season. They really are. They're eager to come out here and compete. Doss has been telling me all along that he's so excited. He's excited for the matchup against BYU, especially now that they've added 7-4 Mad Harms. Doss is excited for that matchup, and I am too. That's going to be an incredibly fun matchup to see.
Agreed.
They're excited for Utah. They're excited for Dixie State twice. They're excited for Weber State. They're excited for Southern Utah. They're excited for some of these premier games that they get to play. They're excited that Wyoming's coming to the UCCU Center. They're extremely excited that they get to travel to Austin, Texas to take on the Texas Longhorns. It's an incredible schedule that they've got, and no sugarcoating it either. It's brutal, but these guys are excited, and they're ready to go out there and compete and show the world who the Utah Valley Wolverines are.
Well, for the first edition of the Monday Mailbag, we hope we answered your questions, Logan, G-Unit. I mean, we're not perfect. There's a lot of uncertainty right now with COVID-19. So we're going to continue to reach out and see what information we can come up with so that we can continue to bring it to you, break it to you, whatever you want on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Subscribe to our channel, YouTube. We're One Team All Green there. If you want to check out how connected we are, well, just check out one of our previous videos where we had Kevin Connors on the show. Got connected there. Yeah, that's how good we are. Anyways, for myself, have a good night. And Ty, give us your signature sound off.
That was the first edition of Monday Mailbag for you Wolverine fans. Send us the question anytime you want. We're always here. We're always listening, and we're more than happy to answer it. With that all said, go Wolverines, baby.